looking here at Bitcoin, and I see that this is the first cycle over here in purple in 2012. This cycle over here had gone ahead and begun. And then I'm looking at this bottom green over here. This is the cycle in 2016 over here. Many people are familiar with the 217 December blow off top. And then you're looking at this yellow line over here. So this is currently what is going on. If you take the first cycle in 2012 and then the lower cycle in 2016 and you average them together, then you have this yellow over here. And you can see that this current cycle that we're in right now, blue, starting in 2020, May 11th, 2020, that was the last Bitcoin halving where the miner's reward was cut in half. And that sends a supply shock throughout Bitcoin's price market. And you see this 4-year cycle. With this 4-year cycle, you can see it over here on each of these. If you're looking at the purple or the green, you could see over here that they have a peak, and then they have a big bear market over here, and then they start basically flatlining, and then the accumulation begins once again until the next halving comes up. Once the next halving comes, then all of a sudden, again, we have this supply shock. There's a argument from time to time or a discussion about whether or not the halving is priced in. Now, of course, we all know that the halving is not priced in, but every single 4 years, there are people out there who are arguing that, no, listen, the halving's priced in. We all know, as we were monitoring this many months before the halving of 2020, and we knew exactly what was going to happen, which is transpiring right now. But what is transpiring right now, you can see over here, blue, we're 251 days since the halving. 251 days since the halving, and you can see that we are currently over here trading higher. The gains here are steeper than they were in last cycle and an average of the first 2 cycles. It's pretty bullish. It looks like we're seeing over here. I just did a video on this recently over here called Why I've Changed My Mind on Bitcoin, and talk about a double wave possibly forming, and that's what this looks like. By the way, if that were to continue, and by a double wave, I mean more of a price action like straight up over here and then straight up. This is vertical, and then coming off before again doing another vertical run over here. Now, generally, this is when a lot of new money is entering a market, right? We saw this in 2017. We saw this back in 2013 on Bitcoin. And again, we're seeing institutional money come over here, high net worth individuals, especially from the States. And then you're seeing family offices across the world right now really, really competing for that scarce asset. And it's not just family offices. It's not just funds, right? You're looking at public companies now also putting massive amounts of Bitcoin on their balance sheet. MicroStrategy leading the way. I believe it's $1.3 trillion. $1.3 trillion Michael Saylor has invested into Bitcoin. Significant, right? And then you have things like Square doing another $50 million. I'm interested to see this first quarter 2021 when other companies begin their quarterly filings, when they have their earnings releases. What we're looking at over here, how many other companies have put millions of dollars on their balance sheets, and when does that become billions? So over here, right, was that going to be Facebook? Is that going to be Cisco Systems, right? Larry and Elon met recently in Florida. Is it going to be Tesla? We're going to find out soon. Or will Square be going ahead and putting more and more on their balance sheet? Because Square bought in when I think it was around, I think the price of Bitcoin was, I could be wrong, I'm going to say around $10,000, right? Bitcoin's trading right now at $37,000. Yeah, that's something they can't ignore. Once you make that first purchase of Bitcoin, as you begin to understand it, it almost becomes as if you can never own enough. So right now over here on this blue line, 251 days in over here, you could see that we resemble more this first cycle than the second cycle over here. However, here's an average of them. And in this period, going back over here in the last cycle, there was a really, really big drawdown, 30%. It lasted a while. It lasted a couple of months before price returned to new all-time highs, and then price discovery began over here in earnest before experiencing another, I think this was a 39% drawdown over here, and a big one. This was the 39% drawdown over here, right? This was the 39% drawdown right around this time. You can see Bitcoin consolidating really well right now. You can see this over here. Just look in broad strokes, like you see this uptrend and you see price consolidating right now. Once we break outside this trend line, very bullish event taking place, and you're going to see Bitcoin, in my opinion, return to this price discovery. If we put up another move over here you can see this was in the first cycle over here. It's equivalent to $40,000 over here. If we were to trade up at this type of vertical angle over here, that's going to place us somewhere around $160,000. $160,000, everyone knows my original work going back a while ago now. I said that in 2021, the bull market could peak out around $160,000. That was using diminishing returns. I wanted, if I'm putting something out there to all of you, to everyone on YouTube, I want to be correct. I really do. Now, if I realize that I'm wrong, I'm going to correct myself. But I'm trying, when I put something out there, speaking to an audience, to be correct, right? And here we go. So I readjusted, right? Everyone remembers, I think it was, I don't remember exactly where, this cycle, somewhere around 24,000 Bitcoin, maybe 30,000 Bitcoin. I said, look, I have this wrong. We're not looking at $160,000 anymore. I believe we're looking much higher than that. And you can see right now that we are trading higher than a combination of the previous two cycle, really just obliterating the last cycle over here in Bitcoin. Okay, so as we continue up over here, if we hit $160,000, maybe we're going to have a big pullback over here, a big pullback. Maybe it's going to be 50-60%. If we go that type of an angle, that could very well happen. However, that would just be the first run over there. We could really be targeting something higher, perhaps something like $280,000 Bitcoin, maybe even higher, 325,000. That might only last a few days, that type of capitulation top. And that's what we're going to see, a capitulation top. We're going to see the bear market begin, right? But we got a while to go right now. That's where we are today. And we're going to keep doing this together. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're not, welcome back. This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing. Please go ahead and like this video and do subscribe.